Built in the 19th century in the heart of Saint-Omer in northern France, this Neo-Gothic church was a towering reminder of faith and history. But in 2024, a fire tore through its walls. And the man behind it? What investigators discovered will shock you. Built between 1870 and 1875, the Église de l'Immaculée Conception in Saint-Omer was a striking neo-Gothic parish, complete with a tall bell tower, ribbed vaulting, and stained glass windows honoring the Virgin Mary. The city itself had deep Christian roots reaching back to the 7th century. Once home to the great Abbaye Saint-Bertin and a medieval cathedral that drew pilgrims from across Europe. So why build this church in the late 19th century? The answer lies in the France of the 1850s and 1860s. Saint-Omer's Outreau district was growing fast, filled with workers tied to industry and the busy canal trade. The existing parishes were overcrowded, and there was a renewed surge of Marian devotion after Pope Pius IX declared the dogma of the Immaculate Conception in 1854. Dedicating a new church under that title was both a practical necessity and a clear expression of faith. It was also the age of Napoleon III, when the church and state often worked together on ambitious building projects. Across France, neo-Gothic churches sprang up, blending modern engineering with echoes of the Middle Ages. In Saint-Omer, the Immaculate Conception Church quickly became more than stone and glass. It was a parish at the heart of everyday life, the site of baptisms and first communions, weddings and funerals, and community celebrations for generations. But in 2024, that legacy was suddenly thrown into jeopardy. So what happened next? In the early hours of September 2nd, 2024, alarms rang out across Saint-Omer. A fire had broken out inside the sacristy of the Immaculate Conception Church. Flames spread quickly, climbing into the wooden roof beams. By the time firefighters arrived, the blaze was already out of control. Parish priest Abbé Sébastien Roussel got the call at 4 a.m. He rushed to the scene and, once the fire was partially contained, persuaded firefighters to let him enter. I was able to take the Blessed Sacrament, then several statues and liturgical objects, he later said. He saved the ciborium from the tabernacle, a reliquary of Saint Corneille, and even the central statue of the Virgin. Yet, the damage was devastating. The bell tower collapsed, stained glass shattered, and most of the nave was reduced to rubble. The town mourned the loss, but questions quickly followed. If it wasn't an accident, who had set the fire? Fire experts ruled out electrical faults. The origin point was deep inside the sacristy, and investigators noted a broken stained glass window used as an entry point. This was no accident. It was arson. The police moved fast. Within 24 hours, they had a suspect in custody, a man with a long rap sheet. His name was Joël Vigoureux. Who was this man? And why did he set the church on fire? What the criminal investigation revealed shocked the community. Vigoureux was 39 years old, French, and had been released from prison less than a week earlier. Homeless and unemployed, he was staying in a hostel when the fire broke out. He admitted to investigators that he broke into the church to steal from donation boxes and then set the fire before leaving. But his record went much deeper. Court documents and press reports revealed that Joël Vigoureux had already been in and out of prison more than 24 times. In total, he carried 26 convictions on his record, ranging from theft and property destruction to deliberate arson. Judges had sent him back to prison again and again, but each release seemed to end in another offense. But what shocked investigators the most was what Joël confessed to next. This was not the first church he had targeted. In 2021, Joël Vigoureux was convicted for setting fires in 4 parishes across Boulogne and Pas-de-Calais. Each attack left devastation in its wake. Roofs caved in, wooden pews and confessionals went up in flames. Entire organs, painstakingly built in the 19th century, were destroyed in minutes. In some churches, stained glass windows that had survived 2 world wars were obliterated by one man with a match. Relics were lost, statues reduced to rubble, and with them, pieces of France's spiritual and cultural identity. The damage ran into the millions of euros. But parishioners would tell you the real cost was measured in grief. These were places where generations had been baptized and married and buried. To see them blackened and gutted was not just a material loss, it was a wound to memory, identity, and morale. And here's where the outrage comes in. Everyone knew who Joël Vigoureux was. He had 26 convictions. He had already been caught torching churches. Yet he was released over and over again, until finally he burned Saint-Omer's Immaculate Conception to the ground. For many in the community, it wasn't just the arsonist on trial. It was also a justice system that seemed blind, even indifferent, to the pattern unfolding in front of it. The fire in Saint-Omer was not an isolated act of destruction. Across France, more than 800 anti-Christian incidents are reported every year. Statues defaced, cemeteries desecrated, sanctuaries vandalized. Increasingly, those attacks take on the form of arson. For the faithful, the loss of the Immaculate Conception Church was devastating. It wasn't just about architecture, it was about memory. Watching the bell tower collapse into fire and smoke felt like watching a piece of their own lives vanish. And yet the real bitterness came from knowing it didn't have to happen. The man responsible was no mystery. He had burned churches before. He had been convicted, jailed, and released again and again. To many, the fire symbolized more than one man's crime. It exposed the justice system that seemed unwilling or unable to take seriously the protection of France's religious and cultural heritage. The very guardians of order had allowed indifference to open the door to tragedy. But even in ruin, there was a flicker of hope. When Father Roussel carried the Eucharist out of the smoke, parishioners saw a sign that their faith could not be destroyed so easily. And now the question that hangs over Saint-Omer is no longer just about who set the fire. It's whether France itself has the will to defend and rebuild the sacred places that carry its history forward. So what do you think about what happened at Saint-Omer? Is this the beginning of the end for the church in France? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe.